Hey friends, this is Waylon, live on Instagram where everything looks warm and clear, and live on YouTube where it looks gray and grainy. Strange. So, cheerful new year, everyone. On Elephant, we have like 80, I think, really helpful New Year's articles about how to approach the new year. And in many of them, mostly by myself, the ones that are by myself, for many years, I've sort of preached uh, against New Year's resolutions because they tend to be a little bit like diets, like fad diets, a little bit of hope, a little bit of trying, and then we go back to our habitual patterns, and then we remonstrate, we judge ourselves meanly, and then we try again, and then we give up, and we kind of get depressed about our ability to change. And I don't feel like that's super helpful. Um, so I'm actually really proud. I think Elephant, which has had many millions of readers for many years, we've been around 20 years, has played a very small but important role in reminding people that trying to be a good person, trying to take care of ourselves, number one is an everyday practice. Number two has to come from a fundamental motivation. It can't just come from trying, joining 24-hour fitness or a local gym and then being mean to ourselves when we eat that piece of cake at midnight. But I feel like the pendulum, and this is the sort of big point of this video that I wanted to do. Number one, to wish you a cheerful New Year's, and to explain why I mean cheerful, not happy per se. And number two, in keeping with that, to sort of admit that the pendulum has swung too far, that we're now too cynical to begin with about New Year's resolutions. So I want to talk about what the Buddha's approach to New Year's resolutions might be. Now, that might sound silly. He wasn't probably partying with champagne and lots of plastic confetti or whatever at New Year's, but he did talk about, and Buddhists everywhere practice, men, women, and others, we all practice, say, the Buddhist 4 reminders. So I have an article on Elephant that's called The Buddha's New Year's Resolutions, in quotes, and it's talking about the 4 reminders and other Buddhist wisdom. And I hope you go to elephantjournal.com, search Buddha New Year's resolutions, and you read that and you practice that. So I want to talk a little bit about that, which is, I think, the virtue of New Year's resolutions, just to go against kind of what I've been preaching for years, because I feel like when the pendulum is over here, being hard on ourselves, trying to change, we push back a little bit. Let's be better to ourselves, try to invest in every day. And then when it goes too far to New Year's resolutions, doesn't matter at all, who cares, we're cynical, we need to push back a little bit, because there is a virtue to trying to take care of ourselves. There is a virtue to trying to improve or invest in our lives. And if we're using a sort of made up day or demarcation or time, that's okay. Because I can say, I'm 48 years old, life is short, life is precious. Life is short is such a cliche, we don't really know what that means. But the fact is, the older you get, the faster the calendar starts seemingly revolving. And it's valuable to say on your birthday, on your New Year's, is valuable to say, well, life is short, life is precious, carpe diem. And what does that mean? Not just YOLO, not just let's F stuff up and have a great time, but carpe diem in the sense of let's try to be a benefit to myself and others. Recently, we posted on Instagram on Elephant about the Buddhist truism that if you want to be happy, think first of others. And all others does include us. We're part of the world, right? We're connected to the world. If you want to be unhappy, think only of yourself. We can think about people who think only of themselves. And while they obsess about themselves, they're actually incredibly insecure, arrogant, unhappy. So we got a lot of hell for that, which is interesting. I think culturally, people now understand, which is positive, that we need to take care of ourselves. This is called Maitri, loving kindness, making friends with ourselves. We have a Maitri course on Elephant Academy, which is Elephant's online school. So you can go to elephantjournal.com/academy and actually learn how to make friends with yourself. And it'll be up to you. You'll have to do that. We can't do that for you, but we present the path of Maitri that has changed my life. And it's still something I practice. Making friends with yourself is an ongoing journey, one that we experience on New Year's Eve. If we decide to stay home, sometimes we have that feeling of missing out, FOMO, right? So that's when we have to practice making friends with ourselves. When we go out and we party, we drink, we smoke, whatever we're doing, we have to make friends with ourselves and be kind and know that we don't have to get shit-faced or whatever, right? That we can just have a wholesome, wonderful, celebratory time that actually comes out of cheerfulness, not out of trying to go crazy for the sake of partying. So, the people having the most fun at the party are really feeling it, not just kind of going along with the mob. So that's sort of what I wanted to present, that when the calendar turns over, it's now 2023, it is an opportunity to stop and pause instead of rushing on the habit trail forward as we do, and say, what would I like to change about my relationship to myself? What would I like to change about my work? What would I like to change about, my relationship to our planet, our environmental responsibility? Do I want to invest in anti-racism education, which isn't a merely woke thing? It's called, equality for all. That's a good thing. Do I want to invest in, making amends or trying to make amends with friends or with family or with people I have a difficult time with? Do I want to try to make changes in terms of my yard, maybe put bird feeders out and, learn a bit about permaculture and buy local and boycott Amazon or watch less movies and TV and read more books? Whatever it is, it is valuable to pause and contemplate. The fundamental thing I've pushed against for years with Elephant is that we don't do so out of self-hatred. We don't do so out of self-improvement, which is a subtle form of hatred. We do so out of wanting to make friends with ourselves and be kinder to ourselves. So if we're trying to lose weight, it's not because we hate how we look. That's something we need to make friends with. In Buddhism, we say, what is it? It's something like we're all perfect just as we are. That's Maitri, making friends with ourselves just as we are. That is hard. The caveat, the joke, the humor, the classic Buddhist sort of little asterisk is we're all perfect just as we are. And we could stand some improvement. So that second part is we want to invest in maybe meditating for a couple minutes, working with our minds, our hearts, our breath. And it's not just heart. It's like literally, this is an investment in how our longevity, our health, our care for others, which includes ourselves and all animals, hopefully, all of us. So I wrote about that in an article, like what is important to contemplate on January the 1st, the morning of January the 1st. And that's also on Elephant. If you go to elephantjournal.com, you can read both of those articles and actually practice Maitri, practice the Buddhist 4 immeasurables, practice the 4 reminders. We have articles on all these things, and they're actually helpful. There's a lot of noise in this world, but we're trying to share in Elephant things that have been helpful to us, helpful to you, helpful to me, helpful to our writers, helpful to our readers, not just get clicks. We don't mind clicks. That means people are reading, just like you're viewing. That's great. Community is clicks on some level, but we want what we're clicking on to actually be helpful. So that's really it. I just wanted to push back a little bit against the sort of like New Year's doesn't matter, nothing matters, nihilism. It does matter. At the same time, it's made up, and we need to kind of invest in making fundamental friends with ourselves, not trying to change out of willpower or out of disliking who we are, which will only make us sicker. So finally, why cheerful, not happy? Well, there's nothing wrong with saying happy, of course. From a Buddhist point of view, Trungpa Rinpoche, my parents' Buddhist teacher, would talk about how happiness is a state of mind, like sadness, like any state of mind, being hungry, whatever. It's a temporary state of mind. Cheerful, he used to connote, this is a fundamental state of mind. So we're not just wishing the ups and downs, say, of those fad diets on people. We're not just wishing the highs and then we all hide and smother and suppress our lows. we're wishing a fundamental kind of cheerfulness that comes from our fundamental, basic, foundational goodness that is founded on who we are in this world and nature or God, whatever you want to call it, the universe, how things actually work. And if we get into harmony with how things actually work, good things can happen and we can create more goodness, we can give more goodness, we can get more goodness. It just all starts flowing. So while that may sound theoretical, cheerfulness is based on basic goodness, and basic goodness will naturally arise and manifest if we bother to meditate, to work with our minds. So please check out those articles on Elephant Journal. Check out elephantjournal.com/academy to join the Maitri course. There is a discount for January only. After that, it goes back to full price. And big love to all of you. Check out my new YouTube channel, Waylon Hart Lewis, on YouTube. And as always, you can find Elephant Journal on Facebook. We have left Twitter, but we're active on IG on 5 different accounts. And most of all, invest in elephantjournal.com itself. Try to subscribe, invest in independent, mindful community. It's a rare thing in this big tech-owned world. Big love. May there be peace on earth for all of us, in the Ukraine, everywhere, Taiwan, for the Uyghurs, the Tibetans, for Native and Indigenous around the world. I'm grateful for Lula coming in. He'll be better to the Amazon and their indigenous populations, citizens, and hopefully we can all do our part to kind of emphasize facts over opinions, facts over conspiracy theories, facts over crazy Facebook comments or whatever. Let's try to actually be good people this year, kind to one another, even those we have a hard time with, those who we typically would ignore. May it be a benefit and cheerful 2023.